One of the greatest fears of any human being, whether they want to admit it or not, is probably the fear of being alone. Nobody wants to be alone. We were created to be in communion with one another, to be in a relationship with one another. So being lonely is the last thing we want. We need that communication with one another. I've felt loneliness before. You probably have too. Moments where you just felt like nobody understood. Nobody was there. And this loneliness could have crept in when there were lots of people around you. Family members, friends. But you still felt that loneliness. And it probably didn't make much sense to you. I'll be the first one to admit that human emotion is so confusing, isn't it? Why do we feel the way we do? Why do these emotions creep up and at the weirdest of times? Loneliness being the worst of them all. Feeling alone when we're in the middle of a large group of people. People who love us, people who want to talk to us, but we still feel like for some reason they just don't understand us. And so, I don't know. It's a weird thing. But one thing I do know, Jesus understands us. If there was ever a human being that walked on this planet that understood loneliness, that was Jesus. He understood what it meant to be lonely. And of all the human beings that ever walked on this planet, he's the one that shouldn't felt lonely. Hold on to the truth that's in God's word that says he has not left us. He's not forsaken us. He's with us, even in the deepest, darkest valley. You might be thinking in the middle of this season of loneliness and deep depression that, well, God's done with it. God's mad at me. Well, wait a minute. Hold on. Think about King David. Well, it was before he was the king. And he was hiding out in the caves of Adullam. He was hiding from Saul. He was by himself. You think about that kind of loneliness and what happened after that. Think about the prophet Elijah. After all the excitement of Mount Carmel and the praying down fire from heaven, what happened after that? He spent some time in depression, loneliness. But that wasn't the end. There's something more. Can you imagine the loneliness that Mary felt when she told Joseph that she was pregnant, wondering if Joseph was going to take her, wondering what the future would hold for a young Jewish girl who was pregnant out of wedlock? Can you imagine the loneliness that the woman who anointed Jesus' feet with perfume and her hair, what she felt when she walked into that room full of religious scholars and the disciples of Christ? The loneliness of, I'm by myself. It's just me. We spend a lot of time avoiding negative feelings. Boy, that's like, please, no negative feelings. We don't want to feel those things. We want to feel good all the time and happy and joyful. Well, life's not always happy and joyful, and sometimes it's tough. And it's hard to go throughout the day because of how tough life is. But I want you to know something. God uses loneliness just as much as he uses any other of the good emotions out there. In the midst of loneliness, he can show us things about ourselves that we otherwise would not have known. In the midst of loneliness, he can show us how other people are feeling. Think about all the other people who are lonely and battling with depression. He might be showing you something so that you can help others. So today, I don't know if you're feeling great and not lonely, or if Maybe you're really battling with loneliness and depression. Seek God's face. The answer is with Him. He'll point you in the right direction. And even through loneliness, He can use you. I hope you have a great day.